A seat in Washington, D.C. awaits somebody in Iowa's 4th District. How will the candidate's faith guide them as a member of Congress? How will they honor their pledges to their communities? Why should Iowans trust them? And what do they think Iowans need to know about their competition?
Now, from your local election headquarters, the GOP 4th Congressional Primary Debate.
Well, welcome back to this final half hour of our debate. We want to work in some viewer questions here. So let's begin with this one. And it's a question of honesty and keeping promises here, gentlemen. Kevin Fall wrote in, most political people talk but don't keep the promises that they make. Why are you different from the other candidates? Mr. Richards, let's start with you. Are you going to be Mr. Honest here?
Well, I took an oath when I was commissioned in the Army as a combat engineer officer. I took that oath seriously. I would rather forfeit my life than forfeit my integrity. Congress is a big swamp, but I'm not going to change. So, yes, I will be honest till the day I die.
All right, Mr. Taylor, you going on record to keeping promises here?
Absolutely. So as a chaplain, my word is my bond, and that's very, very important to me. I've been in over 75 events and 17,000 miles, and one of the #1 issues conservatives, Dave, bring up to me is what happened when conservatives campaigned as such, but then went to Congress. They didn't stand for life, to secure the border, to repeal Obamacare, and to do that which they said they were going to do. I'm somebody who has principles over campaign promises to political action committees, and I think that that's a compromising difference in this race.
Mr. Feenstra, how will voters know if you will keep your promise?
Well, my faith is my foundation. My faith guides me in every aspect of my life. It guides my morals, my ethics, my integrity. It's my moral compass, and I live by it each day. I have my family live by it, saying, you know what, our word is what we have. And I was excited. My son got the Bernie Saga Award last week, and it's all about being a man of faith and integrity. And that's what I aspire to.
All right, Mr. King, are you going to keep your promises, and how do voters know?
I'm going to pass up my opportunity for rebuttal and answer your question, Dave. And here's this. When I ran for the state senate in '96, I had 13 promises that I had on one sheet of paper in my jacket pocket. I handed out about 14,000 of those in exchange for a handshake. When I look back, when I left the Iowa Senate after 6 years, I had kept 12 of the 13 promises. And the 13th one was just a bad idea. And they asked me, well, what is that? I'm not telling. It was just one bad idea out of 13, and I didn't move on it. In Congress, I stood before people when I was first nominated, and I said, you elect me to this seat, I will move this seat, I will use this seat to move the political center to the right. I've kept that promise on the issues that Jeremy mentioned and many others, from the Second Amendment to renewable fuels to the immigration issue. I've gone down to the border and built the wall down there, welded wall down there with my own hands at least twice, built one on the floor of the House in 2005 to show people how easy it was. The immigration issue isn't just that, it's the rule of law. I'm there with that on the life issue. I noticed that Randy doesn't talk about the heartbeat bill anymore. I think I know why, because he knows that I'm the author of it, and we started a national movement, and the National Right to Life doesn't support the heartbeat bill. So that's another issue that I pushed hard. It would have passed the House today if we didn't have them standing in the way.
You bring up a question here. That's the next segment here. You all have the ability to ask another candidate a question, realizing, of course, that everything is not the way we're used to seeing in a campaign. So we realize this race has not given voters a chance to ask as many questions. It's not been covered as much as necessary in an important race like this. Mr. King, you can go first here. Do you have a question for any of the other candidates that you think needs to be answered?
Well, I think I brought it up, and I'd ask Randy, and that is that you've heard what I've just said about the heartbeat bill, Randy. And I would ask you, are you willing to come out in favor of the heartbeat bill? I know you voted for it. It's kind of heard of the Republicans all voted for it in the Senate. I'm very glad that all happened. But the National Right to Life has actively undercut the heartbeat bill and blocked it in the United States Congress. And so you've got the support of those folks that were standing in the way for defending 1 million unborn babies a year. So will you endorse the heartbeat bill, and will you renounce their position on it?
Well, I co-sponsored and passed the heartbeat bill, and it was one of the most exciting things that we did in the Iowa Senate, along with defunding Planned Parenthood. along with defunding all taxpayer-funded abortions.
I didn't ask those questions, though.
Congressman King, I went a step further. I wrote a bill that defined life at conception with no exceptions except
I'm the author of that in Congress, too, but will you renounce the national right to life, and will you endorse the heartbeat bill in Congress, because they're pushing hard?
Done, Congressman. You get things done. The National Right has supported me. They supported you up till last year. I'm about getting things done. I will make sure that we protect life and we get it done. That's why Bob Vanderplas is endorsing me. That's why many others are endorsing me, because they want to see it get done.
But I didn't hear you answer my question. Do you agree or disagree with the opposition to the heartbeat bill that National Right to Life has brought forward? I've fought them for 2 years. I know who they are. A lot of the public knows who they are, Randy. And if they're the only organization that supported you, then they want you to help block the heartbeat bill, and they want me out of the way because they don't want to solve this problem. They have to be out of the way if we're going to end abortion in America. That's why I asked Randy the question. That's why he won't answer it.
I passed the heartbeat bill.
That's not the answer. I didn't ask that question. We all know that.
Bob Vanderplas, Ambassador Branstad all support me because they want to get it done. The bottom line is we want to protect lives. We got to get it done.
All right.
Randy, you're just pushing the cassettes that you played in every debate. You're not answering my question. Will you oppose National Right to Life's effort to block the heartbeat bill? Will you come out and say, they're wrong? They're wrong? They came out, they were public with this. And they were given a veto power by the Republican leadership in the House of Representatives. If the National Right to Life didn't support a heartbeat bill, it didn't move. 174 co-sponsors, 218 votes to pass it in the House of Representatives. National Right to Life was handed a veto card, and they vetoed it and blocked it in the last 2 weeks of the 115th Congress. And that's a big deal. That's 1 million lives a year, and they're supporting you. And you won't come out and say they were wrong.
Life is the #1 thing, my #1 priority. It's about my faith and my foundation of my faith. And you know what? We're going to get it done. We're going to get it passed.
But if you can't answer a question, how are you going to accomplish anything?
Senate, which you didn't get done. I got it done in the Iowa legislature.
No, that was my bill, Randy. I wrote that bill. I worked it through the Senate and the House. I spent 7 weeks. I had every name in the House of Representatives. I called them, I worked them, I whipped that vote. You voted for it. I don't even think you spoke on the floor.
All right, speaking of abortion here, we'll give the other candidates the time to answer the question, but we did have a question from a viewer when it comes to your stance on abortion. Nick Oswald had emailed us from Ankeny, and he had asked, hey, I assume you are all pro-life, but in what circumstances, if any, would you allow abortions? Mr. Taylor, I think this is your question first here. Would there be any exceptions in your mind?
The only exception for me would be the life of the mother. I believe that every God-given life should be protected, and that's why I'm supported by the lead counsel for Iowa's heartbeat bill, and that's why I've put forward a 10-part Defend Life policy plan that I plan to introduce on the Judiciary Committee that I think is very important. I also want to say this. Senator Feenstra brought up sponsoring a life at conception bill. The problem with that bill was he was the only one that was on it. 2 years earlier, a state senator found 20 others. That's not leadership. That's not about life. That's about Randy. For me, I'm somebody that stood up to my own caucus in the Iowa House, stood in front of a caucus of 60, and was one of only 5 who said, I will not support an HHS budget because it has taxpayer funding for abortion. That's a key critical difference in this race. Who's willing to go along to get along? And who's willing to stand on principle before political gain.
Mr. Feenstra, do you want to respond to what he said there?
I'll just simply say, we got it done. We defunded Planned Parenthood. We defunded all abortions in the state of Iowa that are paid for by tax. And we passed the heartbeat bill. And I did write the life at conception bill. These are all things that I'm very proud of. And these are things, when you talk about delivering results, I want to deliver when I get to Congress. It's one of my #1 issues.
But like with Congressman King, that's not an answer to the question. Just wanted to note that. Thank you.
Mr. Richards, would there be any exceptions in your mind? Should there be any exceptions?
I believe life begins at conception. I don't know how you distinguish a circumstance from another. I mean, if you've ever had your wife say, come here, look, and you see a perfect footprint pushing out on her belly, you know that's a life, and you know that you should not ever contend to end a life. Or been in a NICU for 16 days when your premature twins came early and think, boy, the governor of Virginia would have ended their lives. There should be no exception. This is about our country's soul, and we've got to change this practice.
Mr. King, any exceptions in your mind?
I don't provide for exceptions. When it comes to the life of the mother, that's so utterly rare in medicine, we don't need to address it with law. Rape and incest are the other two we're talking about. I've been vocal on this. I've been attacked by Randy Feenstra for defending my position and protecting those babies no matter under what circumstances they were conceived. Every baby is loved and wanted by God and is as precious to him as my own grandchildren are to me, and perhaps more. So I have stood for no exceptions. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm having a little bit of friction going on here today and in Congress. I refused to allow exceptions to be put on the heartbeat bill. I had 174 people that said no exceptions, and leadership is saying we need to have exceptions for rape and incest, and I said, let's fight it out. Take it to committee and fight it out. They would not do that, and it's because of national right to life.
Mr. Feenstra, any exceptions for you?
No exceptions except for the life of the mother. No exceptions except for the life of the mother. That's where my faith is predicated on.
All right, Mr. Richards, now let's get back to the chance. Do you have a question for any of the other candidates here?
Yeah, I was going to ask Jeremy one, but I'll ask Senator Feenstra something, because he talks about rhetoric and getting things done. You know, I think most of us have said that we're going to support a term limits amendment to the Constitution. That's going to be tough, but I've taken the leadership position that I will serve 5 terms, 10 years, and come back home. Because Iowans know at some point in time, you start believing the lobbyists, of course, Randy already does, you start believing them or their staffers thinking you're special. I want to know if you will support term limits, but also term limit yourself. If not, it's just campaign rhetoric, Randy.
Thanks for the question, Brad. Just like you, I signed the term limit pledge also, and that's why I've spent only 12 years in the Iowa Senate, and that's why I've said early on.
Is there a number?
Anybody from my county, I said early on that I'll only run 12 years in the Iowa Senate, and I will also be term limited when I get to Congress.
What is the number for Congress? Is it 12 years also?
I believe 12 years is very sufficient, just like you.
So you will come home after 12 years? I just want to make sure.
I believe 12 years is very sufficient.
No, that's not what I asked there. See, that's the politician answer. I believe it's sufficient. Not that I'm coming home after 5 terms, 10 years, I'm going to come back to Irwin. Are you going to go back to whole Iowa, or are you going to give the politician answer?
Just like I did in the Iowa Senate, just like our founding fathers have said, you go and you come back, and I'll come back in 12 years. Thank you.
Got him to answer one.
Mr. King, you'd be an even 20 if you win this next seat. What do you think about this term limit question?
I don't want Chuck Grassley to have to go home, and I'd have hated to miss about 40 years of his representation in the different places that he has been seated, especially in the United States Senate today. We have term limits. That's called elections. And the things that I've seen there, my perspective is I'll say better informed because I've lived in that arena. I don't think anybody thinks that Washington's changed me. In fact, that's some of the objections they have is that it didn't. The people that want Washington to change me are the one putting money behind his campaign. But what of course, I've learned a lot. I know where the bodies are buried. And if you bring people home too soon, you're going to end up with the staff and leadership running the show. And we can't have that.
Mr. Feenstra, do you have a question for somebody else now?
Yeah, so my question is, so the Republican Party will have the election June 2nd, and I want to ask each person, will they support the nominee, whoever is voted on by the Republican Party and who wins the June 2nd nomination?
All right, for simplicity, let's just go left to right here. Will you support the nominee?
Yes.
You know, I think like most Iowans, I got to know it's a conservative candidate and where they stand before I cast my ballot.
So that's a maybe? What is that?
It's a maybe. It is. I will because I think J.D. Schultz is too dangerous. Right? But I do want, it's not going to be someone that's not conservative. The 4th District is too conservative, and we're too grounded in our principles. We're not going to elect someone that I wouldn't vote for.
Okay, but do you all these men next to you, they're all conservatives, right?
In this stage, yes.
Okay. Mr. King.
I'm going to be the nominee, and that's my answer.
All right. All right, I think Mr. Taylor, you haven't asked anybody a question yet, right? All right, so this one's to you.
So my question would be for Randy. We talked about principles and we talked about politics. And You and I know we've gone back and forth on this a little bit. There was a vote on expanding sports gambling. You had made a promise to conservatives back home that you wouldn't support that bill, and yet did so, not only bringing it up as Ways and Means Chair, but also passing it to the floor and then voting against it. Can you, for one time, explain your logic in that, and given the concerns of money that I think each of us has shared as candidates and the ability of money to compromise principles, can you explain how that wasn't the situation in this case?
I oppose gaming. I oppose gambling. So when you're chair of Ways and Means, virtually every bill comes through your committee, just like this one. And this one had enormous support. So I had to make a decision. I said, I want to make sure that we put money in for bets off, that we make sure that this money is captured. And if we can give it back to the people, that's what I want to do. So I put the framework on making sure that the money goes to bets off and making sure that it goes back to the people of Iowa. It came through my committee, and I voted against it on the floor.
May I respond to that?
Go ahead.
I was in the Iowa House when I had a representative of Ways and Means who didn't agree with the bill. And he actually introduced it, but he voted against the bill, and he voted on it last. He voted on the principle of the thing, but he brought it up because he thought it should have a hearing. That's a very, very different thing than violating a promise back home. And I think it's a very big concern in this race, especially when there are PACs that support red flag legislation and others that are supporting that campaign. I think it's cause for concern, and I think it's something that should be noted that that wasn't required to do.
All right, for this next few minutes here, Mr. King, let's start with you. As you well know, the other gentlemen are here basically because of some of the pushback, some of the things you've said over the years, right? Fair? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's catch people up here so that you can have a chance to respond to some of this stuff. If we go flip the calendar back here about that interview you did with the New York Times here with Tripp Gabriel, part of that where you were quoted as saying white nationalist, white supremacist, Western civilization, how did that language become offensive? Why did I sit in classes teaching me about the merits of our history and our civilization? That was in that interview. Slightly before that interview, when you were here in our studio, you had also made the comment when I was talking about white nationalism, and this is what you had said back then.
It is a derogatory term today. I wouldn't have thought so maybe a year or two or three ago, but today they use it in a derogatory term, and it implies that you are a racist.
Okay. So the term white nationalist, as you know, that's been some of the complaints about how can you not know that's a bad term and what it implies. As you stand here now, do you get it that people look at this differently than perhaps you had thought years back? How do you look at this?
Well, first, the way I answered that question, the first half of that question, you didn't need to run it, but I fumbled around trying to find an answer because I don't even think in terms of white nationalist. So, but what I was processing was how they have weaponized that term. And since that interview, Dave, and since this thing blew up, I went back and did the research. We did a LexisNexis search back to the year 2000 and asked, have I ever even been quoted saying that odious term? And never, in all that period of time, I was defending Western civilization. I've been quoted 276 times defending Western civilization, never uttering either one of the two odious terminologies, which I have the strongest rejection to in the congressional record. So then we went back and looked.
You're talking about white supremacy, right? That term?
Yes.
Is that what you mean specifically?
Yes, and that's why I'm not saying it, because things get turned, out of it. So people will take a little clip of something. If I said it's a derogatory term, it implies racist. That's my answer. So it is a derogatory term. It does imply racist. That still stands up today. But when we looked at the use of the term white nationalist, and to the year 2000 and on, it was virtually unused every year all the way up until we were having that conversation in 2018. And, well, 2017, excuse me, because once they met, when Trump was elected president, the Democrats got together at the Mandarin Hotel in Washington, D.C. George Soros was there, and when you watch the graph, it shoots up right away. And what's left of that year, the unused term began used 10,000 times. The next year, 2018, it was used 30,000 times. 2019, 20,000 times. They weaponized that term, and I knew that intuitively. I hadn't actually ever answered the question before, so it wasn't as smooth as it should have been.
But what has happened, though, just looking at the dynamics here? You have neither Senator Ernst, Senator Grassley, Governor Reynolds, nobody would come out and endorse you. You got Terry Branstad giving money to one of your opponents here. Why have these folks lost faith, or at least not been able to stand up for you in public?
Well, one thing is, we have too many politicians that are scared to death of facing criticism. All you have to do is threaten to criticize somebody and they will cut and run from it. Another one is that there's powers that be that are, some of them are money powers, not all of them, that want Steve King out of the way because they don't like to have to do battle on life and on marriage and on budgets and on guns and name the whole list of things that I'm in front of and on the border. They don't like that. The never-Trumpers are the people that ginned this all up. And by the way, Terry Branstad doesn't like to lose, and he came out 2 weeks before the caucus in 2016 and said anybody but Cruz. And of course, Cruz won Iowa, so there's a bit of a, I don't want to assign him a motive, I just have that suspicion within myself.
All right, we're coming up against the break here. If you can somehow, I promise you all having closing time here, so Mr. Richards, somehow respond to Mr. King and your close all in 45 if you can. I know it's tough, but we're going to hit the end here.
Well, I want to say that I'm not running because of something he did or didn't say. I'm running because our republic is made better. Made better by when citizen legislators get involved. In the House, it's supposed to turn over. It's the people's house. And we are better when we have a churn in the House because new ideas come. And I know, again, it goes back to the fact, if we don't do something, Washington, D.C. is going to change us, and we've got to do something different.
All right, and excuse me, because I looked at the clock wrong. So you have more than 45 seconds. So sorry to that. I can't do simple math. So I don't want to interrupt your thoughts here. So what about the fact that why are you all here to begin with? Why does Mr. King face all this opposition from his own party?
Well, it is
on this stage.
Right. It is truly, for me, it's because I do believe that our republic is better when we have citizens involved. We need citizen legislators that go and serve and come back home. And that's why term limits is so important to me. And I think that Americans know it too, because career politicians, they're the ones that have put us here. It's people that have served. I would vote for Chuck Grassley again, but that's the dilemma, because there's a Chuck Schumer, there's a Nancy Pelosi, there's a Maxine Waters that will be there taking out Chuck Grassley's vote. So we've got to take it back, and we do that by sending people we know and trust to get the job done. It's people like you and me, D.C.
Right. Mr. Taylor, why does Mr. King face this opposition this year?
Yeah, I think that there are times where I want to first say that Steve King is a good and decent man. I said that throughout this campaign. With that, I believe that someone needs to step forward, because we lost, for example, in Woodbury County by 3,000 votes in this congressional seat where J.D. Schulten ended up winning and almost won with a 22% lead, only won by 3%. And so conservatives asked me to run, to be able to stand for life. We've got to be able to sit on the Judiciary Committee. If we're going to fight for the RFS, we have to be able to sit on the Ag Committee. And we need to have assurance that those are actually going to come to fruition. Right now, we don't have a congressman that has those committee assignments in hand. I step forward not to attack Congressman King, but to take that conservative mantle. Conservatives don't want to go along to get along, establishment Republican, but someone who's principled, who will stand for life, our Second Amendment, a secure border, and for our farmers and small businesses. That's why I step forward. This seat is too critical to hand over to the Democrats, to J.D. Schulten, and we need this seat in order to take back the U.S. House of Representatives, because if we don't, from Nancy Pelosi and the others, we aren't going to recognize the country that we leave to our children. So I believe that I'm called to serve, to be able to stand for those principles, and to be able to help win this seat.
Mr. Feenstra, why are you all here?
Well, I'm running for Congress because the 4th District, we need a seat at the table. We need an effective conservative voice. To me, this election is about real results. It's not about campaign rhetoric. We heard a lot about campaign rhetoric today. It's about what we can get done. That's why people are endorsing me, like Ambassador Terry Branstad, Bob Vanderplatz, Annette Sweeney, Senator Annette Sweeney, Senator Kreinbrink. All these people look at me and say, he got it done. He's effective. I've been in the Iowa Senate the last 12 years, being elected by my peers as assistant majority leader. They put me on Ways and Means, where we delivered the largest income tax reduction in state history, which was signed by Governor Reynolds. I delivered on the pro-life movement. We can all talk about it, but I delivered. I defunded Planned Parenthood. I sponsored the bill defining life at conception. We banned all taxpayer-funded abortions. And yes, we passed the heartbeat bill. I am endorsed by National Right to Life, and I'm proud of that. I champion the Second Amendment rights. We passed the largest expansion of gun rights ever in Iowa's history. I co-sponsored constitutional carry. I'm adamantly against all red flag laws. I protected against illegal immigration, banning sanctuary cities in Iowa, which we need to do in our nation. In Congress, I'll do the same thing. I will fight. I'll be the conservative that will defund Planned Parenthood. I will help President Trump build the wall. I'll defend his tax cuts. I'll be unwavering on the Second Amendment, fighting against red flag laws and other liberal schemes that infringe on our God-given rights. Our district, President Trump, they deserve an effective conservative leader, and that's why I'm asking for people's vote on June 2nd.
Mr. King, I think it was Mr. Taylor who brought up the committee assignments. So when they stripped those assignments from you, here recently at a forum you had mentioned that your conversation with Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy made it sound like he would be supportive of your efforts to get back your committee assignment should you get reelected here. And then he did the interview a couple days after that and said, I didn't make any such assertion. What's going on here? Is this lost in translation, or is somebody not being honest? What's the deal?
Well, the press has a way of slicing and dicing things so it sounds the way they wanted it to sound out there. So I brought with me, the only piece of paper I have is a transcript of the phone call. It was April 19th that he and I had that conversation. And here's the operative part. I said to him, and I quote, "This is my understanding, and so that we understand each other, I'll ask you this way." Quote, "Will you go to the steering committee and advocate on my behalf to restore me to all my committees?" Close quote. McCarthy's answer directly was yes, one word, real clear. And not only that, my wife was listening in on that conversation as well. And so if this doesn't happen, it's not on me. Just like not being on committees, it's not on me. This is on the people that made those decisions. And people need to realize, what is it about? Being misquoted in the New York Times? I was misquoted in the Congressional Record the same way. I explained to them before I actually said it into the record, I said, here's how the string of words are. If you ask me if I actually said those words, I can't say yes or no. Did I convey that thought? I can say no, I didn't convey that thought. But I said, if I said those words, there was a pause between the two odious ideologies and Western civilization. And if you look at the language, you know that's got to be true. So I delivered that statement, and I paused distinctly for the Congressional Record. Guess what? It's exactly the same misquote as came out of the New York Times. I have proven this to be false every way possible. But it was going to be driven anyway because it was a strategized attack on me. That was orchestrated. I knew it was coming. I got a heads-up warning the day before Thanksgiving in 2018 that they were going to try again. They told me who the messenger was likely to be. I went and met with that messenger on January 8th, and the messenger said, "I'd never do that to you, Steve." And so January 9th, I knew I was sending a message up to the people that were doing the planning against me. They knew I knew on January 8th. The next morning, Randy Feenstra announces his campaign against me. He had canceled out 10 years of his Twitter account. Whatever kind of never-Trumper stuff might have been in there, we'll never know what that might be. But he canceled that all out, started fresh. The first thing in a 2009 Twitter account is announcing he's running for Congress. No website, no rollout plan, nothing. Somebody called him and told him, you got to run now because King's got onto us. And the next day, the New York Times story came out, and that was a flood that could not be stopped by anything I said.
All right, we're hitting the clock here. Mr. Feenstra, can you give us a quick response since he mentioned it?
Yeah, that's truly disappointing. I met with King and told him I was running against him on December 28th. I told him before he even did the article that I was running against him, and that was December 28th. And you know what? My colleagues, they elected me assistant majority leader. They put me on Ways and Means. I will be the one that passes effective conservative results and get things done in Congress.
All right. Thank you all. This time we really are up against the clock here. Mr. Taylor, thank you. Mr. Richards, thank you. Mr. King, Mr. Feenstra. 4 of the Republicans here running in Iowa's 4th Congressional District. You can vote by mail, although you're about out of time to do that. Got to mail it by June 1st if you want to get that in the mail, or can do it in person on June the 2nd in this 4th Congressional District. Thanks to all of our candidates here. Thanks to all of you who sent in so many questions here. Sorry we didn't get to all of them. And thanks for watching.